All right, so in the last video, we created a driver section for our profit and loss, making it very easy for us to consolidate all of our inputs, which flows directly onto our income statement tab. We're now gonna do the same thing for the balance sheet. So it's gonna be actually really simple in order to do that. I will just select these 3 rows. Let's give a little bit of a buffer and let's paste over here. And I'm gonna call this balance sheet. All right, now let's take the balance sheet. Let's take all of the information in column B. Let's hit Control C, and I will then paste the information as such. Okay, so now that I have my balance sheet tied in here, I'm just gonna take the actual values like we did last time, and I'm gonna copy it, and we're gonna go to the driver section for our current assets. Actually, I pasted it from the checking account, so I'm just gonna press Control V as such, and all the information now copied over. Now, I'm just gonna keep the actual formatting here, but I could delete this and this because we're gonna adjust that later. Okay, so what I wanna now do is just like last time, I wanna create a buffer between each section. So I'm gonna scroll down to where it says liabilities and owner's equity. I'll hit a plus there. We actually don't need this liabilities and owner's equity. I'm just gonna delete that. And then I'm gonna add another buffer under total equity. And again, we don't need the total liabilities and owner's equity here. Okay, so in order to now get the information populated for the annual and quarterly rows, we're gonna do the same thing that we did for the income statement, only this time we're gonna use the index. Because again, the idea is that if my cash balance or my inventory balance as of 12/2025, let's say $50,000, I don't wanna sum the information for all of 2025. I just wanna pull the value as of December 2025. So we already set that up with this index over here. So I'm just going to hold down Control Shift. I'll hit copy. And now I'm gonna come all the way down and I'm just gonna hold down Shift and paste it as such. Okay. Now we'll fix the formatting later, but just like last time, I don't really care in order to have my subtotal information. So I am going to just get rid of any subtotals as such. Now we also have section headings, which can't really have values. They're not really accounts. So I'm also going to get rid of that. And I'm just gonna hold down Control and continue going as such. Now I do want the entire section heading, so I will keep that. Everything else here, I can delete as such. All right, I'm gonna just press Control and minus to delete all of that information. Perfect. Now, in order to sum up my assets, I am just gonna take an equals sum, all the information shown over here. I will copy that and I will paste that as such. And let's just do the same thing for the quarterly and for the annual. All right, now let's do the same thing for the liabilities. I could delete what I already have in these cells from when I copied it. And I'm just gonna take this information, I'm gonna copy it, and I'm going to paste. Now for the liabilities, I wanna make sure that it lines up. It looks like we have just a bit of a difference. So I'm gonna go only until accrued interest, and I'll copy that over. Oops, too much. So now my information copied, and I again can just delete this here. Let's take the sum of the total liabilities, and let's paste that for our total equity. And I'm just gonna adjust the range one more time, press Control C, and let's just drag that across. Okay, great. Let's just tidy up a few more things. So I'm gonna bring all the section headings to the left side, like we did before because of the styling that we have. And let me just make sure that the styling over here is set up correctly. So I'll copy it, and then I will paste the formatting here, and the formatting here, and the formatting here. Perfect, now let's just get the information that we styled for the subheader like this. I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna come down here, and I'm gonna hit Alt-HVR in order to paste it. I'll do the same thing over here, and the same thing over here. Perfect, okay, so now we have each of our sections. The last thing that we need to do is just link up the balance sheet in order to pull from here. So we're gonna do the same thing that we did last time. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna go to January, and I'm gonna say equals SUMIFs, the value in the drivers, in all of this column here, if the account here, which I will lock entirely, is equal to the account that I show over here, which I will lock for just the column. All right, now let's just paste. Okay, and let's take this information over here. Let's copy it and let's paste it to the right as such. Okay, now you'll notice that we have an error on our check, and that's because the cash flows is no longer connected. So all I need to do is come to this checking account and go to our cash flows tab and select the information over here. Let's copy it to the right. And we're also going to need to set up our retained earnings and net income. So retained earnings is going to be last period's retained earnings and last period's net income. And then the net income is going to pull directly from the P&L as such. And let's just take that information and copy it over. Okay, let's now set up our own check row to see how well this carried through. So we'll just say check. And the check is going to be at all of these levels. We're going to take assets minus the sum of liabilities and owner's equity. Let's close. And it looks like we do have an error, but this would be a good opportunity for us to figure out what exactly that error is. And another thing that I'm noticing is we don't have accumulated amortization or depreciation set up. So for that, I'm just going to take a last period plus this period's accumulated, or this period's depreciation expense. Let's just copy and paste that forward. And it should actually be a minus here. And I'm going to do the same thing for the accumulated amortization. So last period's minus the amortization expense over here as such. Okay, now let's see, does the information actually tie? Looks like it does. If I go to my balance sheet, did the information all carry forward? Yep, looks like it did. And now all the information for both my income statement and balance sheet is structured directly on my drivers tab. So I have just one location that I can manage all of these updates. So let's just tidy this up. I'm going to call this the check section, and we're going to say assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. And I am going to take this section and just copy and paste the formatting that we had from above. Perfect. And now we can just delete this from the drivers because we're not going to really refer to that anymore. And now we have our income statement, and I can also group the balance sheet as such. We have our income statement and balance sheet set up and tied directly to the financials. Nicely done.